I'm sure you've heard people talk about SOs and SKs and BCKs and BGs, but what on earth are they talking about? Let me explain. When railwaymen were talking to each other and referring to vehicles that were required or where they were, they needed a telegraph code system to reference the vehicles they were talking about. Part of that was the passenger coach classification system, originally referring to first and third class coaches, eventually merging this entry into first and second. The classification system also needed to be able to refer to whether or not the coach had a gangway to allow passengers to move along the train, whether it had a compartment for a guard, whether it was all one class or mixed. So a whole system was pulled together. And the system was quite simple. It simply used letters, B for brake, F for first, originally T for third, later S for second, K if it was gangwayed, and so on and so forth. So let's have a look at a few coaches and how they are described. Let me say right off the bat here that I'm talking about coach descriptions really through the grouping and British Rail era. The more modern stuff, anything kind of 1970s onwards, the coach description system still works, but it has changed dramatically. Clearly there are many more multiple units running now than there were, so the descriptions have changed. So I'm really talking about the steam and early diesel era here. So let's talk about some basics. And in this particular coach, it is a brake coach. There is somewhere for the guard to travel, so that makes it a B. It has accommodation for both first and second class passengers. That's called a composite coach, and a composite is defined by the letter C. And it is gangwayed. You can see that there are corridor connections at either end for passengers to travel around the train. So this coach is known as a BCK. The fact that it's a Thompson vehicle and it's in crimson and cream livery is irrelevant. It just happens to be a BCK. The next coach along only provides first class accommodation and it's gangwayed. There's no brake end or anything here, so F for first class, K for gangwayed, so that simply means described as FK. The next coach provides accommodation for first and second class passengers, the same as the first one, so that's C for composite. It's gangwayed, so that's a K. No brake end, so simply a CK. Next, another Thompson example, but that's not what we're concerned about here. This provides just second class accommodation. It's a gangwayed coach, so that's SK. Now here's a Mark I version of the same coach. It's still an SK, and that's how it would be described. And finally, at the back of our train is a coach that's gangwayed, so that's going to be a K. It provides second class accommodation, that will be an S, and it has a brake end, so that will be a B. So this is a BSK. Now this is where it gets a little bit confusing because not all coaches carried passengers. This is a full guards van, a full brake if you will. So you'd expect that to be described as a B. It's got a gangway in it to walk around a train, so you'd expect that to be a K, but it isn't. It's actually called a BG, G for gangwayed. So why is it a gangwayed coach a G and not a K? Well, I can't find anywhere that the K stands for corridor, although you'd think it might. You can't use C, obviously, because it's for composite. So does the K stand for corridor and the G stand for gangwayed? Can't find any definitive answer to that. At least to say this is a full brake, or technically a BG. But be warned, this is a Southern Railway general utility van. It doesn't carry passengers, but it also doesn't have a brake facility for the guard, so therefore it's not a brake coach. You can't put this on the end of a train and say this is where the guard is going to travel, because it is not a brake coach. Now logic would suggest that if a brake second coach with a corridor is a BSK, a brake second coach without a corridor is just a BS, and you'd be dead right. Here's an example of a Mark 1 BS. And of course this is just an S. And you guessed it, this is a C. Now remember what I said about corridors and gangways and how confusing it can be. This is a coach that doesn't have gangway accommodation between one coach and the next, but it does have a corridor. This is a Gresley vehicle. It has a corridor for the left-hand compartments to reach the toilet and a corridor for the right-hand compartments to reach the toilet. First on the left, second on the right, but there's no corridor from one coach to the next. So how's this described? Well, this is simply a composite coach, but it does have a lavatory, so it would be called a CL, where the L is lavatory. Now from quite late on the 19th century, the Board of Trade didn't like four-wheeled and six-wheeled coaches travelling on fast trains, so it was important that the description of these vehicles made it clear that they only had 4 or 6 wheels. The way the railway companies did that was simply to put a suffix of Z on the end of the coach description. This is a full brake, so a B. There's no gangway, so there's no G here, it's just purely a B. But it is a 4 or 6 wheeled vehicle, so it would be described as a BZ, where the Z means 4 or 6 wheels. So I'm going to leave you with a list of descriptions, typical descriptions that you'll see of coaches, and how they were combined to describe the vehicles concerned. What I haven't touched on in this video are the various descriptions of buffet, restaurant and kitchen cars that can get very confusing. Maybe we'll cover those in a future video. Hope you found this useful. I'll see you soon.